welcome to the second Ewe Felty Thing podcast. I'm Nikki and I run Ewe Felty Thing, which is a unique yarn shop in Llandudno. We specialise in hand-dyed yarns and fibres for spinning and felting, and we've got a few other craft supplies and things as well. So yeah, here we are. It's April and it's been a very, very busy month here at Ewe Felty Thing. It was our birthday party back in March, just after the last podcast actually, and it was fantastic. I'll stick some photos up on the video feed for you. But we had an amazing turnout, which was surprising because the weather was shocking. We had massive storms here in Wales, and the rain was horizontal. It was blowing a gale. It was also the day of there was a big Welsh rugby match on for the Six Nations. It might even have been the final. So I was really surprised anybody braved it to come out to the birthday party, but they did, and we had so much fun. So as well as lots of customers, many of whom are regulars, hello to you, we also had a selection of our dyers and designers coming, which was brilliant. So we had Tanya of the Woolly Tangle and Kath of Knitted Scarlet. We had Rianne of Temporal Spin. We had Faye of Crochet Circle Podcast and Faye Dashborough Hughes Designs. We had Sharon of My Crochet Makes. We were going to have Anne of Mamma Me, but she wasn't very well on the day and couldn't make it. And who else did we have? My brain's failing me. I think that was everybody. If it wasn't and I missed you out, I'm so sorry. I will add you in. But no, we had a really lovely time, and because it quietened down a bit in the afternoon during the Wales match, we ended up having basically a knit and natter, a crochet chatter of just the dyers and designers with a couple of customers there, which was really nice because it's actually pretty rare as working in this industry that we actually get time to mingle and just get to know each other properly. Usually we only see each other when we're working, so at yarn shows or if we're doing a visit to a particular shop or a particular designer. We're there to talk about work, and it was really nice just to have some time to get to know everybody and have a gossip and see what everybody was working on and things. It was really, really lovely. So yeah, so the birthday party was fab. Thank you everybody for coming. I did a unique colourway for the birthday celebrations, which was called Confetti in the Rain, and I did it on a variety of different yarn bases, everything from lace through to double knit, I think, but I had some sort of mohair loop double knits and things as well. And I also made key rings out of it as well. So I think most people that came went away with a little bit of birthday yarn. So yeah, I think that's it on the birthday. But yeah, just thank you again to everybody that's supported me over this last year and helped make the shop what it is, because I'm not this is not a one-man show or a one-woman show by any stretch of the imagination. I have no problem admitting that I would not be here without some amazing people. Two in particular are Anne, who gave me the opportunity to have the shop in the first place and still comes in every day at 3 o'clock so I can go and pick my kids up from school and covers for me when I can't make it in, and all sorts. And Wendy, who has just been amazing. She comes in, she organises things, she decorates the shop, she stays up with me till 11 o'clock at night rearranging things before big parties. So yeah, without those two in particular, the shop wouldn't be here, and without all the fantastic dyers and designers, there wouldn't be anything in it. So thank you to everybody that's a part of the Ewe Felty Thing family. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Right, so what are we doing this month? I think we need to... Sorry, I've got a list here because my brain is like a sieve. I've got ME and it means that I get brain fog, and I can't remember what I'm meant to be doing, so I have to have lists. So new stock. We've got all sorts of new bits in the shop this month, a lot of which were brought in for the birthday party or shortly thereafter. So one of the most exciting things is that I now stock Lurka needles and hooks. Now, if you haven't come across these yet, they're great. They're made out of laminated birchwood and they're all hand finished. So they're all slightly unique. They do crochet hooks, they do straight needles, interchangeable needles in two, circular interchangeable needles in two different lengths. So these are the 3-inch ones, and they also do 5-inch ones. So that it works better for different projects and that sort of thing. They also do fixed circulars, double pointed needles, all sorts. So the range that I have will be slowly expanding, but I just thought I'd show you these ones to start with. They're just nicely finished. If you're a crocheter, the hooks are really fab, really nice, smooth to work with. They don't have any rough bits under the hook, which you sometimes get on cheaper wooden and bamboo hooks, and they've got a nice point on the top. It's not that pointy that it's going to break your yarn, but it's pointy enough that it's easy to put through the loops. So they're really lovely to work with. They also very usefully have the sizes on the bottoms of them rather than on the side where they get rubbed off over time. Similarly, the needles for the knitters are lovely and smooth to work with. They're not too pointy, they're not quite a lace needle, but they're not blunt either. So they don't split the yarn, but you can do sort of lace patterns and things with them. And they've also got the sizes neatly on the side, where you're not really going to be rubbing them off very much, so that you're not forever going, I wonder which one this one was. So yeah, I've been using them quite a bit. This is actually my set of the interchangeables here, and they're just fab. I'm definitely a convert. So these will be in the shop from now on. I'm hoping to soon be getting the straight needles in as well, and the double pointeds in, which I don't have in yet, but they will be coming. What else did we get in? We added another dyer into the shop this month on the birthday, on the 16th. Lovely lady called Sophia, who runs a company called Fia Eco. She makes clothing, she does wild weaving, sort of art weaving, she dyes yarn. I've got a gorgeous waistcoat from her that's covered in locks, and she's started making some weaving kits. So she hand dyes the yarns and the fibres for you to weave with, and she's made these nice wood looms which she's pre-warped for you, and you've got a the name has escaped me, a thing to wind your yarn round and help you poke it through and help you bash it down. It's a weaving tool. I'm sorry, the brain is gone. Shed stick, there we go. Check the label, Small. Yes, it's a shed stick, and it's all made from sustainable timber and things. So we now have those in 2 different sizes in the shop. This is the small size. We also have a big size, and she's also done some weaving card kits as well. So yeah, so those are lovely. And if you're wanting to have a go at weaving, or wanting to do sort of art weaving rather than clothing weaving, then these are a really good way to get started. I would definitely recommend those. We've also had various yarn and fibre deliveries. So Abercairn have sent some more minis. We've also now got 50-gram skeins of 4-ply. So if you're doing smaller projects, or if you're wanting to create fades or have accents and things in, we've got basically a whole sweet shop colourway, or sweet shop range of colours of 50-gram skeins. And Desiree's also started making some project bags, and also needle cases and hook cases for double pointed needles, crochet hooks, and circular and interchangeable needles and hooks. Not hooks, no, needles, circular needles, there we go. I told you, brain fog day. Who else has brought stuff in? Cat and Sparrow has sent in some more, so we've got some more lace weights from Cat and Sparrow, and some more oh so fine sock yarns. So those are 45% silk, 55% blue face Leicester, I think. Those are really, really scrummy. We've also had a restock from Bear in Sheep's Clothing. Bernie sent me some bits just in time for the open day, so we've got some lovely different colourways from her, in all weights from 4-ply through to Aran, including those are really scrummy sort of dark red Wensleydale, which I have my eye on. So it's sitting there, and if anybody buys it, might be slightly gutted. We've also, just after the birthday party, we had a delivery from Mum and me. Anne had been busy dyeing loads of locks and fleece and things. She does just the most beautiful dyeing with sort of Wensleydale locks and Teeswater locks and that sort of thing. So you add them into your felting and your weaving and that sort, or your spinning, and it adds so much character to what you're doing. It's fab. So as soon as they come in, they pretty much go out again. So we still have some left, but how much we'll have left in a week or so is anybody's guess. She brought in like buckets load, and we're already down to about half that. So yeah, if you're needing locks, come quickly. We had a big delivery from Knitter Scarlet on the open day. Kath brought in 2 enormous bags, one of yarns and the other one of fibre. So Kath dyes usually single skeins in a variety of 4-ply and double knit yarns, and she also dyes fibre, and she tends to do unusual blends, so it's not all just a plain merino fibre. She does things like banana and pineapple, and alpaca silk and all that sort of thing. So we've got a lovely range of different fibres for you to try out. So if you're new to spinning, or even an experienced spinner, and you'd like to try some different fibres and just play with how they work and the different textures and things, then she's a good one to have a look at. And what else have we got? Yeah, I've bought in some more sort of tools and things. So we've now got blending boards, not the big ones. We've got the carders. There we go. So they're yay big carders, and we've also got some little ones to help both with felting and with spinning. So you can blend your colours, you can use them to prepare your fleece, sort of thing. And I've also started stocking Knit Pro wool winders and skein umbrellas. So they're the things that you use when you're trying to convert your wool that you've bought on a skein into a ball. So I have the thing to put this on and the thing that winds this, and they're nice wooden ones. So I mean, they are expensive, but I would say if you're doing a lot of winding and a lot of skeining, that sort of thing, they are worth the money. Faye of Crochet Circle Podcast has done a very thorough review of the ball winder on her most recent podcast, which I think is episode 41. She's also said that she'll put it up as a separate review post as well, basically talking about why it's better to have one of these proper wooden ball winders than the cheaper plastic ones. So that's worth a watch if you've got if you're interested in winding your own skeins into balls. Right, so I think that's it for the new stock. So we shall move on to this month's knit along and crochet along. Bear with me 2 seconds because I've just realised that I've left the pattern for one of them over there. Right, so this month in Ewe Felty Thing we are concentrating on hats. This is partly because we wanted a sort of a smaller project. We did quite a big project last month. We did the loft shawl, which was sort of a 3 skein project. So we wanted a small project this month. And also, it's still cold. I know it's April, but it's still cold, and we were all still looking for our bobble hats and trying to stay warm. So, and it snowed again on the mountains. The mountains are all covered in snow round the back. So yes, hats. April's still good for hats. So we actually have 2 of the dyers and designers in the shop have hat patterns. The crochet one this month is the Weekender hat, which I'll stick a picture up properly of, which is by Dina of Dina's Home of Crafts. It's a 4-ply crochet hat, and it's a nice, reasonably simple crochet hat pattern, but you end up with a sort of a slouchy beanie, and it's a nice one to work on. It's not going to be too thick and heavy because it's a 4-ply, so it should do all the spring months and then autumn months as well. And then the knit pattern that we're going with is Falling Rain Beret by Tanya of Woolly Tangle. I have cast mine on now. It's a DK. This one's a DK hat, but it's a beret, so it's again, it's going to be good for sort of those spring and autumn months, I think. And she says on it, simple lace patterns melded with a classic beret shape, reminiscent of the sometimes constant rain in my North Wales home. So yeah, the yarn I'm using for mine is an Abercairn double knit merino. So it'll be nice and squishy. I'm looking forward to finishing that one. I'm still on the rib at the moment. But so those are our knit and crochet alongs this month. So as usual, if you would like to join in with these, it's dead easy. You can either pop into the shop and get a hard copy of the pattern, or if you contact me directly, I can send you PDF copies. And I run the knit alongs through my Facebook group, which is called Ewe Felty Thing, Knitting, Natter and Crochet Chatter. So you just join the group and join in the chat, really. Just post your updated progress, work in progress pictures, post your finished objects when you get there, and yeah, just join in. So I think that probably brings us on to my finished object. So my most exciting one is that I finished my chink of light wrap that I was designing. Now, I'll put some photos on of it because it's a bit big and I don't think I will be able to show it to its full advantage in the video, but this is it. So you've got 6 lace sections and 5 stocking stitch sections, and the idea is that you use a plain mini or remnant for the lace sections and 1 skein of variegated indie dyed yarn for your stocking stitch sections. And it's knitted flat. You cast on 145 stitches, and then you decrease at one end and increase at the other every row, and that gives you this sort of slanty, elegant rectangle. And it's very, very versatile, so you can wear it any which way. I seem to be going with this at the moment, so I'm wearing it sort of like a scarf most of the time, so that you get a nice dangly drape and your neck's warm. But you can wear it like a wrap, you can wear it like a shawl, you can do whatever you like with it, really. It's very, very versatile, and I absolutely love it. So it's currently out for test knitting. I've got some lovely test knitters who are actually, some of them almost finished, which is fab, and it's also being tech edited by Deb of Find Me Knitting up in Betws-y-Coed. So the plan is, fingers crossed, that I will have it printed and for sale, launching at Wonderwool at the end of the month. Not that I like working to deadlines or anything. I am slightly nervous because it is my first proper pattern. It'll be my first published pattern, but hopefully it'll go down all right. So yes, so if you would like to be one of the first to have the pattern for the Chink of Light, then come along to Wonderwool. It will be available on Ravelry around then as well. It'll probably be, I might open it for pre-orders first and actually put it up for sale after Wonderwool, so that those that come to Wonderwool get it first. I'm also going to be dyeing up some some sets for some kits for it, so you'll be able to get the yarn for it as well, or you can choose from the other yarns, or what the other idea was, that it's a stash buster, so you can use one of your stockpiled skeins of indie yarn, and then you just need 6 coordinating 20-gram minis or remnants. So yeah, that should be good. Yeah, I'm really happy. The other thing that I've finished is a hat. I told you we were doing hats this month, and I've spoken to a couple of my customers when we were deciding which patterns to use, and one of them, Ruth, came in and said, "I've found this amazing hat, but I think it's a bit beyond me. Can you do it, and then we'll do it together, maybe?" And the hat is this one. It's called Toff, and it's by Woolly Wormhead, and it looks complicated, but actually it really, really wasn't. It's worked flat, and it's all done with short rows. So you sort of start there and knit back a row, and then you just sort of zigzag, and then back along, and zigzag, and back along, and zigzag, and back along, and until you've worked the pattern 8 times. And then if you've ever made socks, you will have learned how to Kitchener. If not, then Woolly Wormhead has put very detailed picture instructions of how to Kitchener, and so you Kitchener up the seam so that I can't tell where my seam is, which is great. So it means that I can put the hat on anywhere I like, and it doesn't matter. So it's been brilliant, because as I say, it's been a bit chilly here in North Wales. But when I finished it, I showed it to Anne, and because, like today, I have my hair tied back, she looked at me and she said, "Nikki, it looks like a swimming cap." So every time I've been wearing it, I've been trying to make sure that I've got my hair down so that it doesn't look so much like a swimming cap. But I don't know whether that's the hat or whether that's just me not necessarily suiting hats. But either way, I love it, and I would definitely recommend the pattern. It's not as complicated as it looks like it would be. So that's it for sort of knitted finished objects this month. I don't have any crochet finished objects at all. So the only other thing that I've finally finished is my camel silk spinning that I was doing. I got this yarn at Woolfest last year, not yarn, fibre at Woolfest last year, and absolutely loved it, but I just haven't managed to find the time to sit and spin. But I finally this month managed to get back into it properly, and I finished it. But because it was all on one reel, one bobbin, so I decided that I would Navajo ply it rather than faffing around with it. So it's been Navajo plied, so it's approximately a DK weight, and I had wanted to do the falling rain beret in it, but when I measured it after I'd set the twist, it comes in at just under 200 metres, and as Tanya had knitted her, when she'd made it with a 225 metre skein. I thought that would be cutting it just a bit fine, and because it's quite a soft yarn, I didn't know how well it would do to being pulled out if I had to pull it back. So it's waiting for the right project now, and which I will find. I am determined that I will find a lovely project to do with it. But yes, all suggestions welcome. So yeah, so that's it for finished objects at the moment. I do, however, have 3 million things in my works in progress. So I'm doing a second chink of light because obviously I'm wearing this one like you wouldn't believe. It's barely ever not on. So I need another one that can just sit prettily in the shop. So I'm working on one of those. I've also I've got my Falling Rain beret, which I've cast on. So that's my in the shop project. I'm still, apologies, finishing off my loft shawl. I blame the fact that it took me 3 goes at dyeing the yellow before the mustardy colour before I was happy with it. So it's not as far along as I'd planned on it being. Well, I planned on it being finished by the end of March. So yeah, in fact, I'll grab it and show you quickly. So that's on the will be socks. So yeah, I'm not hugely far along with it. I've almost finished this striped section, and then, but I've got a long way to go. So apologies, and I will finish it because I do really like it, but it just needs a bit more time than I've been able to give it yet. And so I'll just, while it's here, I'll show you my other chink of light. Decided that I would go brighter colours this time, just to show different options really. So I've got with, this was from my stash. This is Pilot. It's Temporal Spin. I was a member of Temporal Spin's Yarn Club last year, and so I've got this, which is actually it's a merino silk rather than a standard sock, but it knits up the same really. So I'm using that for my stockinette stitch, and then I've got a variety of these sort of coordinating minis, all dyed by Abercairn, which are becoming the lace sections. So yeah, so that's that one. On my looker needles. And other than that, I've cast on a pair of socks as well, which are being made for a friend as a slightly belated birthday present. So I'm getting there. This one I have turned the heel. I always do 2 at a time socks because I'm an awful one for single sock syndrome. If I don't do 2 at a time, there just will never be a second sock. So I'm using sort of a variation on Knitter Scarlet's Slippery When Wet pattern, which is basically you use a knit one, slip one the whole way round. So which makes it a nice, stretchy, quite forgiving sock. That should, because I don't know, because it's a surprise for the friend, I can't say, how wide is your calf? How long is your foot? So I'm doing a best guess, and I thought that this would be a nice fitted sock that should work quite well. So as I said, I've turned the heel on that one, and this one I've turned the heel, but I'm just about to do the gusset. So yeah, getting there. I was knitting these outside yesterday because I've hurt my hip. Usually we love going for walks and things, and the kids and Glyn are always romping up mountains and that sort of thing. But I've jiggered my hip somehow, and so this last few times I've really struggled. And so yesterday I said, well, you know what, I'll come with you, and then I'll sit on a bench. You guys can go for your walk, and I'll just bring my knitting. So we were sat on the top of the mountainy hill. I'm not sure if it's a mountain or a hill, just above Penmine Mower yesterday. Glyn has told me the name of it, but I can't remember the name of it. It's a hill thing on top of Penmine Mower, and the wind was so strong that while I was knitting, it became a windsock. So I did stick it on Instagram stories quickly because I just thought it was so funny that it was just, I was trying to knit it and it was just going like this. So yeah, so I think those are all my proper current projects. I'm still, of course, making my crochet blanket at home, which just is very slow progress because I keep having so many other things that I need to be doing. But I know it's always sat there, so if I'm at a loose end or if I just need some therapeutic crochet, I can pick that up and it's fun. So what's coming up this month? It's been same as March was hugely busy. April is really, really busy, as well as all sorts of other things that are going on. We've got some big events going on. So on Sunday the 14th, so that's just under a week away, it is the Abergele Guild of Spinners, Weavers and Dyers Friendship Day. Now this is basically an open day. Everybody is invited to come along for the day, see what we do, have a go at things. There are various different stalls, and you can just just have a look, meet the people, try different things. Sorry, that was the postman. They seem to have gone. Yeah, try different things. If you've never spun before, or if you want to learn to spin, if you are interested in weaving but you don't know where to start, if you'd like to learn about dyeing, it's just a fabulous group. So anybody who happens to be in North Wales next Sunday, come along. I know that it's also Spring into Wool, so some people can't make it, but if you are around and you're not heading over to, I think it's Leeds, to Spring into Wool, then yeah, head up North Wales. Come and join the Abergele Guild. I can vouch for the quality of the cake. It's a good guild. Everybody's very friendly, and as I said, there'll be lots of stalls and lots of very knowledgeable people. So yeah, come and play. And then I've got a weekend off. Wouldn't quite go as far as off because I'm going to be completely manic, and it's the Easter holidays. But the weekend after that, it is Wonderworld. Woo! So excited. So come along and see us at Wonderworld. We are stall G9, which is, if you've ever been before, I think we're in Hall 2. We're just down from the Wonderwool information desk and 2 stalls away from the door where you go out to get your food. They've got all the food stands out there, and the cafe marquee thing, and the loos and everything. So if you're heading out that door, we're 2 stalls away. So come and say hi. There's going to be 4 of us on the stall because I wouldn't cope otherwise. So there's me, Anne, Wendy and Tanya of Woolly Tangles coming to give us a hand as well. There are also some of my dyers have their own stalls this year. So Rianne of Temporal Spin has her own stall. Rachel of Cat and Sparrow is there every year. Who else is there? Hey Jay, Hannah of Hey Jay, she's got a stall there. I think that's it. Verity of Temporal Spin doesn't have a stall there this year, so she's actually sent me a load of extra stock. So if you like Temporal Spin, not Temporal Spin, Truly Hooked, and you're coming to Wonderwool, come and see the stall, because we've got lots of and yeah, I'm just so excited. Wonderwool's absolutely epic. Oh, and of course Maggie Oliver of Spindleberry, she's one of my lovely hand spinners that sends things into the shop. She's got a stall, and she's also very kindly putting us up for the weekend. So we are, and the instruction was, oh, and bring a lunchbox because I'll sort you out with packed lunches. So no, Maggie's fab, and I'm so excited. We're just going to have so much fun. I just can't wait. I just can't wait. So I can't wait. It's Wonderwool. Yay! It honestly is the highlight of my year, is Wonderwool. I go every year as a visitor, without fail. And when I had the email through this year saying that I was going as an exhibitor, it was just the woolly mothership has come to take me home. There's no other way of describing it, really. So yeah. Right, I'm going to move on to something that's a bit more serious now. There's been an awful lot of discussion this year about inclusivity and diversity in the fibre community, going on a whole range of different topics and that sort of thing. So there's representation of BIPOC and BAME peoples within the fibre community. There's also perceived craftism between the different fibre crafts as well, with a lot of places only catering for knitting and not for crochet, or for weavers and spinners getting left out, and all this sort of thing. So I want to say a few words on that. So I am going to use my notes quite thoroughly on this bit. So first of all, I unfortunately at the moment there are, as far as I'm aware, no BIPOC BAME dyers in the shop. I apologise for this. It's not been an intentional thing. Basically the way that it's happened is when I was opening the shop, I put a call out to dyers in general on the groups that I was in and said, would anybody like to be involved in the shop? This is the way it's setting up. And the only people who have currently asked to be involved in the shop are not of those minority groups. So it's not that I have intentionally excluded them, it's just that I haven't actually crossed paths with them, and I'm aware that actually this is the main problem in the community, is that those who are of a non-white background are actually getting vastly underrepresented in the fibre community. So I'm going to be doing my best to remedy this. Disabilities in the shop, as you are aware, because I've spoken about it many times, is I have ME. I'm registered disabled. I have spent varying parts of my life housebound, bedbound, using a wheelchair. I still often use a walking stick, and I try very hard to make sure that I am inclusive of people with disabilities and things. There are several of my dyers who have fibromyalgia, who have different health conditions, which is actually why they've ended up dying and having their own small businesses instead of going out to full-time work. That's certainly how I've ended up where we are. So let me be completely clear about this. racism is not okay. Sexism is not okay. Ableism is not okay. Craftism is not okay. They do all still exist, and I do completely hear you, and I am going to be actively seeking out minority designers and dyers to include in the shop from now on. Whilst I've been reading up on all of this, I've been completely taken aback by the amount of nonsense, to be honest, coming out of some people's mouths. It is not okay to be a white person and say that racism doesn't exist. You are not, it's not your place to say that racism does not exist. And it's the same as it was International Women's Day last month, and white people saying racism doesn't exist is like the men that come out and say, when's International Men's Day? It completely negates and also it enforces the problem. It's ridiculous. So in the same way that sexism will not be gone until women are not are able to say, okay, it's gone. Where basically when the mental load is equal. If you don't know what the mental load is, do go and look it up. It's I guess the best way of describing it is two people leaving work, a man and a woman. They've both work full time. They leave their jobs and they're coming home for the day. The man is usually thinking, yay, I'm done for the day, blah blah blah. The woman will be coming home thinking, right, so I've done that bit, but I now need to go to the shops because we don't have anything for dinner. The kids need their PE kits washed. The dinner needs cooking. Have I put the washing in? Have I done have I made sure people have done their homework? Just all sorts of things that will be going through the woman's brain that she still feels that she needs to do, but that are still part of her work. But the man isn't. He finishes work and that's it, and he comes home and dinner happens and washing's happened and the kids are sorted and everything's fine. I know that that is not true in every household, and I know that this is an awful lot better than it used to be, but it still does exist in a lot of places. So to say that racism isn't an issue and doesn't exist and that you don't see race and that sort of thing is pretty much the same as the men saying, well, when's International Men's Day? I mean, come on, it's equal. There's a huge difference between equality and equity. And again, if you aren't familiar with the difference between this, there are some good graphics on Google and things if you just type in equality versus equity. So equality is treating everybody exactly the same, which is a step forward. Equity means giving everybody what they need to succeed. So at the moment, because of the way that the fibre industry is, a lot of BIPOC, BAME, LGBTQ and just other minority spoony crafters, disabled crafters, the way that the fibre community is at the moment, you don't usually see their designs, you don't usually see their work, just because it is not as mainstream. You don't get exposed to it. It's not as visible on Instagram, it's not as visible on Ravelry, it's not as visible in the magazines, it's not as visible on the platforms. To make things equitable, it's not good enough to just treat them the same now. We actually need to do something to raise them up and make them more visible, because otherwise it's not fair, because they're just getting sidelined. So that's the so I mean, a lot of the graphics involve people stood behind a fence with everybody has the same cardboard box to stand, or wooden box to stand on, but because the fence goes like that, the person that's on this side can't see. Whereas if you give everybody a different sized box so that they can actually still see over the fence, then that's equitable rather than equality. So I will be working hard to provide equity for minority crafters of all backgrounds, abilities, and everything in the shop from now on, and I can only apologise wholeheartedly for the fact that I have needed to be educated about just how bad this situation is. So as a person and as a business, I am committed to improving and becoming actively supportive of BIPOC and LGBTQ and disabled designers and artisans, and acknowledge that my previous lack of doing so, although not intentional, has been harmful, as I have been ignoring racism rather than working to resolve it, and I apologise unreservedly. I had not realised until the discussions this year that being colourblind was in itself racist. And for those of you who, like me, never considered yourselves racist, or the way that you were behaving to be racist, and have plodded along quite happily, please look at the literature and the discussions around the subject, and also start actively searching on Instagram and other platforms for BIPOC, BAME crafters, for Spoonie crafts, for LGBTQ, all those people. Look for them, for the designers, for the knitters, for the crafters, for the crocheters, because I'm willing to bet you probably won't actually have seen their work before, and it's gorgeous. Same as there's no reason that we shouldn't have been seeing it. So yeah, I hope that has not been too serious for the end of the podcast, but I felt that it needed said. I know that, as I say, there have been an awful lot of discussions around this in all the fibre communities, and it was something that I've wanted to speak out about, but because last month was the first podcast, I didn't know whether I should include it that first month or whether I should do it now. So I decided that I would do it now. And yeah, I hope that we can all move forwards and find ways of being supportive and equitably supportive of all the minorities. Right, after all that, it is time to go, I think. Hey guys, as you can probably tell, my camera wasn't really behaving this month, so it sort of actually cut off the last bit of the video with me saying goodbye and everything. So I wanted to just sign on again and say bye, see you next month. Hope you have a good time and come see me at Wonderwall. Bye.